It all started with that little red dress. The little red dress that arrived in the mail just a few hours ago. Now here I was, dressed in it with sheer black stockings and 6-inch black heels, sitting at the bar of an expensive restaurant, waiting to be picked up by a man I had never met. As I looked around across the bar, I could not help letting my mind wander about what had led me to this point. Since I was little, I had always been interested in dressing like a girl and sometimes, just sometimes, even wishing I could be one. I would dress up in secret in my older sister's things when I could, but I was terrified of getting caught. Things changed when I finally moved out of my parents' house and started to live in my own little apartment. Those first months of freedom were intoxicating. I started to accumulate a small wardrobe of female clothing. Stockings, heels, dresses, skirts and some lingerie. In fact, I probably spent what little money I made on adding to my wardrobe. I was still pretty terrified of getting caught, so I never went out dressed, but I loved sharing pictures of myself with my face hidden on social media. I also loved the attention my pictures received. All those likes, all those followers and all those comments, they just made me squirm with happiness. One follower in particular caught my attention. He went by the handle Stranger Danger. I guess that should have worried me, but he seemed understanding and kind. We exchanged DMs late into the night and I really felt like he understood me. I felt safe with him. I even told him about my feelings of wanting to be a girl. That's when things changed a little. I sent him a few pictures that were a bit more private. Ones I would not show on my social media feed. He liked them. He said I had lovely long and delicate legs. I was bursting with happiness at that compliment. He asked me to pick a female name I liked, and that from that point onwards he would only use that when we spoke. I chose Hannah, after my grandmother. Last week things took a sudden, very real turn. He asked me if I would like to share my address with him. I was super nervous, but I agreed. A few days later there was a package in the mail. It was a pair of sheer black silk stockings with delicate lace edging, with a little note in the box that read, "Put these on for me, Hannah, let me see those lovely feminine legs." At first I was nervous. I thought about just throwing them away, just blocking him and deleting my social media account. But then after a few hours of walking around my little apartment, I finally gave in and rolled them up my long bare legs. They felt so silky and sensuous on my skin. Of course I had tried on stockings before, but I could never afford anything this expensive. The way they felt against my bare thighs made me feel so sexy. I soon lay back on my bed and kicked my stocking-encased feet in the air, and snapped him the pictures he had asked for. That night we texted for hours, sharing more and more of our intimate thoughts with each other. I felt like we shared a deeper connection than I had ever felt with anyone. He made me promise to finally dress up and come see him soon, before the end of that month. A few days later another package dropped at my doorstep. They were 6-inch black heels that matched the stockings perfectly. I slipped them on and walked around my apartment staring down at my legs. Then, as the little note inside the package had requested, I recorded a little video clip of me walking in them, and sent them to Stranger Danger. It was another long night of us chatting and sharing with each other. The next package was a set of matching black lace panties and a bra. They were more expensive than any clothing I had ever purchased, and they looked phenomenal against my pale soft skin. The little note inside said, "From head to toe Hannah." That night I stood in front of my mirror in the panties, bra, stockings and heels and took a picture that showed off something I had never shown any of my followers before that day. My face. Then came the little red dress. The dress was something else. Every gift he had sent me up to that point was expensive. At the back of my mind I knew this and I was deeply touched that he would spend that on me. But the dress was a designer label, and as I searched and found its price online, I knew I could not accept such an expensive gift. "Okay," he texted me back. "Wear it once, one night, that's all I ask." So here I was. The red dress had a slit down the side and it showed off the lovely black stockings I had on underneath. As I sat at the bar and waited for him to show, I felt a small tingle of nervous excitement. It was then that I realized I had never even seen a picture of him. It had always been me sharing pictures with him, but never the other way around. I guessed that he was older than me and probably well off, judging by the expensive gifts that I had been given. The realization suddenly made me very nervous. I glanced around the bar again, hoping to see some kind gentleman making his way towards me. "Are you Hannah?" Someone called out behind me. It was the bartender. He slid a cocktail across the counter towards me and pointed in the direction of a booth at the very corner of the restaurant. "Compliments of booth number 12. I turned to look, but the view of the booth's occupant was blocked. I took a deep breath and slid off the bar stool, cocktail in hand, and made my way to booth number 12. The occupant was not what I was expecting. A beautiful tall blonde woman sat at the table, her long flowing white dress cascading down her slender frame. She sat there with perfect poise, her back straight and her chin lifted slightly, exuding an air of quiet confidence. Her hair was styled in loose waves that fell around her face in a soft flattering frame. A few strands were tucked behind her ear, revealing a pair of delicate diamond earrings. "Hello Hannah, my name is Audrey, it's lovely to finally meet you. Won't you sit down?" I stared at her in shock. My knees felt a little weak, so I did as she asked and slid into the booth in front of her. I thought, I stammered. "You thought I had a penis?" She laughed. I couldn't help but laugh with her. "Yes, actually." "Well, I do have one," she laughed again, sounding a little nervous herself now. I stopped laughing at that. "Really? What's so hard to believe? We have a lot more in common than you think. I'm very much like you, except about 15 years older." I stared back at her. I felt like I was getting lost in her beautiful eyes. "I want you to feel safe with me. I want you to explore your girly feelings with no shame or fear. I want to give you the support and love that I did not get when I was your age." Then she gave another little laugh and shrugged. "And so what if while we do that, I also want you in my bed?" That made me giggle, and she reached across the table and took my hand. It was a beautiful dinner date. After my initial shock about who she was wore off, we ended up having a very intimate and sexy night together. We spent most of the night holding hands and whispering into each other's ears. She made me feel very giggly but also very safe in my skin. As she dropped me off back to my apartment that night, she made me promise to come out to my parents and friends about my inner female. She told me that keeping that part of me hidden would not be healthy. I nodded with a smile and squeezed her hand and pushed open the door of her car. "Hold on," she said with a small giggle. "Aren't you forgetting something?" I turned to her, confused. "The dress, silly girl. You said it was too expensive, remember? So you will need to take it off now." Our eyes met, and hers were twinkling. She was being playful, but I could feel a sense of controlling in her voice. I looked out the window. I had to cross the street and then head up the stairs to my apartment door to be safe. "Go on, sweetheart, strip," she whispered. I took a deep breath, my heart thudding as I slipped off the little red dress, slipped it down my legs and kicked it off my body. I could feel her eyes travel down my shape as I handed the dress over to her. "Pretty princess," she whispered and took it from me. I shrieked with laughter and pushed open the door, and ran as fast as I could in the heels. The cool air felt like little teasing fingers against my bare skin, the panties and bra hardly covering much at all, as I was exposed to the night and the eyes of anyone watching, including of course the beautiful Audrey. I only stopped as I finally shut the door of my apartment behind me. My phone came alive with the little buzz of a message, just as the door clicked shut. It was her. The message read, "Good girl, we are going to have a lot of fun together.